Okay. Okay. So our first extract was from The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I gave you in the last bit of our last lesson, I did like a brief. I just quickly read through the model response and made a couple of comments. But I'd really like to deep dive into the structure of it, and everything like that. Okay. So.
Okay.
We've got this first sentence: the overall effect of the language creates an image of the migrant people's vulnerability. Okay, so that's our base statement. Which tells us what the paragraph is about and what our writer's effects paragraph will focus on. Okay, so obviously if you write something different there, you're going to need to focus on something else in your writing. I just need to clean my glasses. Okay, then they are traveling to somewhere new and clearly feel uneasy about what the future holds for them. Okay, so this provides extra context.
Is providing context necessary in the writer's effect piece?
Not necessarily, but it is specifically talking about why they are feeling vulnerable.
Oh, I see.
So in this case, it is very helpful. Otherwise, you need to state it later on, because you need to at some point state why they are feeling vulnerable. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, if we're struggling with keeping our words down, if we're struggling to keep our words, to keep our word count down, it helps to have this statement here, because basically what it does is it means you don't have to repeat it every time in each of these. Okay? Now, the first thing I want to point out is the firstly, secondly, and lastly. Also the additionally, furthermore, also, moreover. And then each one uses the word refers. Now, refers is a key word that you should use in everything you look at. Okay? You could also use something like point to, but generally refers is a great way to, it captures the idea. So, firstly, the writer describes that the migrant people crawled out of the side roads. Now, the migrant people crawled out of the side roads. So what I want to point out here is that here I am introducing my quote. Okay. And then after introducing my quote, and while I introduce my quote, I make sure that the quote is embedded. Okay, does everyone know what it means to embed a quote? Or can I show you a quick video on it?
I think I understand it, but I would like a video just to make sure.
Okay. Give me a sec with that. Okay, I'm starting this activity. Okay, I'm gonna play this, okay? Are you guys all in this video? Okay, no, you need to all join the video. Okay, so I see Kai is here, Kara is here, Rowan is here, Shannon is here. Moya, you aren't here. What's up? Oh, you are here. Okay, cool. It just wasn't showing you. Okay, I'm gonna play. What? Is this just like silent for me? Is this silent for everyone?
I can hear it. I don't know.
I can hear it as well.
Okay, I'm gonna leave and then like leave the activity and then come back to it.
All right.
Oh, can someone else play it? Because like I don't think I can play it anymore. Because Rowan, you're
This is what are called signal words to tell the reader. In a second, you'll
normal quotation mark, and then a capital letter. Ralph knows he's in trouble. They sharpen the stick at both ends. Scrooge feels a sudden sense of guilt. Have they no refuge or resource? So things to remember for your next essays are signal words. So by using those signal words, you will signal to the reader that they're about to read someone's words that aren't yours. It will also help you to embed that quote if you use those words. Secondly, if you use a comma following the signal word, don't forget the capital. So comma goes with capital. If you use that as the method, remember that is that. That's all. No comma or capital needed. That is all. And then finally, if you put a complete sentence, you can then use a colon and then follow that with your quote. So a complete sentence followed by a colon, followed by your quote that proves your sentence, proves your statement. All right, so hopefully they will help you. Those methods will help you to embed your quotes more comfortably. It will be great to see this in action in your next essay for your literature studies. Thank you.
Okay, so does that make a little bit more sense as to what I mean by when I say embed your quotations?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just close this again.
Are there like other ways to embed quotes? Because I kind of just insert it into the sentence.
Like to make it like part of the sentence like I usually do. Like saying the writer describes that the migrant people crawled out of the side roads, like that.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That is also what I do. I actually did expect her to talk about that. And I don't know why she didn't.
Maybe it's just uncommon. I don't know.
No, like that's how I know to do it from university and from school.
Okay.
Let me just check this out quickly.
Hey guys, welcome back. And if you are a new viewer, then hey, my name
Okay, I actually found a really great quote which does it a lot more the way that I would do it. A really great video. Can we just watch this video? I mean, it's well produced. She's got examples. It's pretty cool. Not quite what my plan was for today, but I mean, let's just do it.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, you know the vibe with me. Just kind of whatever comes up, comes up. Can you make me host, Rowan?
Let me try. How do I do that?
If you are a new viewer, then hey, my name is Lisa and I am a VC English tutor. And today we're going to talk about how to embed quotes into your essays like a boss. And yes, I've worn an ace beanie today because I thought it was befitting of this video, because I'm pretty sure after what we get through today, you guys are going to ace your essays, especially in terms of the quotations part. You would think that quoting is really straightforward and all you need to do is just do this if you're quoting somebody else's word, but actually when you start integrating it into essays and into specific sentences, it can start to get a little bit more advanced than that. I wouldn't say complicated because it is absolutely not complicated, especially after we go through it together, but just to let you know that there are advancing stages with quotations, and the better you get at it, the more cohesive your essay is, and thus the easier it is for your examiner or teacher to read your essay, which is exactly what you want. The key rule is never quote for the sake of quoting. So whenever students ask me, how many quotes should I have per paragraph? Should I have 4, 5, 6? Or whenever I hear teachers who say, you must have at least 30 quotes per essay, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that just freaks me out and stresses me out, because no, it shouldn't be about the quantity, it should be about the quality. If you've got a sentence where a quote will really aptly suit it and it's going to help improve and enhance your discussion of the particular text, then go for it. But don't just chuck a quote in just because you need to make that 4 quote per paragraph quota, because that's just then an extra pressure that you just don't need. In that case, your quotes start to become irrelevant as well. You might just be chucking something in just because, and if it doesn't really work with what you're trying to say, well then what's the point of putting it there in the first place? There is no point. Just remember that quotes are supposed to enhance your ideas further, not just to sit there and look pretty. Quotes should never tell the story for you. And if you guys want to check out my video on how to avoid retelling the story, then go ahead. But basically, quotes are supposed to be like a support system, much like how you back up your computer at home. Sometimes students can overcrowd their essays by just quoting quotes that are just way too long, and they stretch out over 2 sentences or 3 sentences, and that is absolutely unnecessary. Guys, just make sure you quote what you need, and that's it. So that's why we've got single worded quotes as well as phrase quotes. But I would not recommend, or I would ask you to steer clear of writing full long sentences. Short sentences are fine, but really the long ones are just, you're just filling up space and you're not really talking about your ideas in that case. So let's have a look at a long quote and see how we can narrow it down. So this is the student sentence. The multitudes of deaths surrounding Anna begin to take its toll on her, burdening her with guilt as sometimes, if I walked the main street of the village in the evening, I felt the press of their ghosts. I realized then that I had begun to step small and carry myself all hunched, keeping my arms at my sides and my elbows tucked, as if to leave room for them. Alright, so that is a pretty damn long sentence. Let's see how we can shorten it, and you can shorten it by using something called ellipses, and I'm sure you guys have seen these before. So, if we're to do this in a better fashion, this is how it could turn out. The multitudes of deaths surrounding Anna begin to take its toll on her, burdening her with guilt as she felt the press of their ghosts, and begun to step small and carry herself all hunched, as if to leave room for them. So, see how just by adding the ... we managed to narrow down the sentence by heaps, and it just makes it a lot cleaner and precise. As you can see in that last sentence, I also had a square bracket. Do you guys know what the square brackets are for? If you don't, I'm going to tell you now. Whenever you're putting a quotation into your sentence, sometimes that particular quote will not fit perfectly into your sentence just because of perhaps the tense, or they're missing some words. So in this case, in order to make the sentence coherent and for it to basically make sense, I just had to chuck in the and then it just made it a whole lot clearer. So basically any words that are in square brackets is to signify that you're putting your own words into this quotation just to make it make sense. You can also see how I've chucked in brackets for the word her, and that's because of the changes in perspective. So because this book is written in first person narrative, but I'm a student writing an essay about Anna, the protagonist, whenever the word I comes up, I start to replace it with the word her, because that starts to make more sense in my essay as well. Now, some additional things. If you're quoting the title of your text, then make sure that you either underline your text or put it in quotation marks. One or the other, not both. So that's just a quick sum up of how to embed quotes into your essay like a boss. And so I want you to think of 4 things when you are quoting, and this is only if you're still getting used to quoting yourself. If you're pro at quotes, then fantastic, and I hope by the end of this video you guys will all be, because quoting is really easy at the end of the day. First thing is, does the quote blend into my sentence? Second thing is, does my sentence still make sense even with the quote? Third thing, is it too convoluted for my readers to understand, so should I shorten it? 4, did I use the correct grammar? Also, next week I'm going to do a giveaway as well, so please stay tuned for that. I'll actually be giving away 1 copy of my Lisa's English Intensive Workshop Study Guide. This is something I spent a lot of time creating. It basically covers everything from text response, context, and language analysis with heaps of sample essays. It's something that I created because I know that there are heaps of study guides out there, but there really aren't that that meaning that hone in on what specifically you need to do for SACs and for exams. And this is just loaded with heaps of advice from tutors and examiners, especially myself, as you can see. So if you tune in next week, then you might be able to score yourself one of these and prep yourself for a wonderful year of VC English in 2016. So that's pretty much it from me, guys, today. Please like this video if you've gained some insight into how to embed quotes like a boss, and especially if you are all right with quotes already, if I've helped to consolidate your knowledge or refresh it as well. Please comment below if you have any questions at all. If there's any topics you would like me to touch base on, then I'm more than happy to. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because there are going to be more VC English tips and also just VC tips in general. Bye! So don't be scared and feel like you have to agree with the prompt. Be different. Show your teacher something that's original. Show them a unique way of thinking, and that's where you actually get the major...
Okay, that's how you do it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay. So, there we have it. That was a lot clearer, and you see that's a lot more the way that I quote, hey? And the way that I've shown you how to quote. But, I mean, I like, something I'd like to just mention at this point. Do you see how the two different people were very different in the way they approached things? The one was very focused on the grammatical aspect. This is maybe an A-level topic that I'm talking about, but the one was very focused on the grammatical aspects, and the other one was very focused on how to practically do it in a way that flows, and the focus was less the punctuation and more about making it flow with your sentence and with your paragraph and making it fit in. So my style is generally not so much the focus on punctuation and more of the second video, but I do think it is important to sometimes have input from people who are more like punctuation focused. I just personally find it very boring. Okay, so we are looking at this. Firstly, the writer describes that the migrant people crawled out of the side road. So this is very clearly an embedded quotation. And all they've done in this sentence is that they have found a way to introduce this quotation. Okay? Then, now, the question asks, how does the writer use language to create effect, right? So if the question is, how does the writer use language to create effect, then what we need to do is we need to then answer the question of the writer's use. Okay, so the writer's use tells us that we are focused. This is the focus on what the writer has done. Now feel free to do this in your own way. You don't have to use these words word for word. It's just I want to show you kind of what the vibe is. Do you understand?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. The writer's use of the verb. So they have mentioned the part of speech. Okay. Then they say crawled. Now they've honed in. Well, they've zoomed in on one quotation. One word. Okay. Let's follow this through. Refers to the car's movements. Okay. Oh my gosh. So I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but if you are asked, okay, maybe I probably haven't. So if there is like a question of explain the figure of speech, okay? So how you would do something like that is you wouldn't just say this is a metaphor, you would say this metaphor compares a curtain to a flag. Okay? So this metaphor compares the curtain to a flag. So we're specifically stating what it is doing, what things are being compared. So in the same way here, if we've got an image, we need to say, okay, how are these things connected? So crawled is referring to what? The car's movements. It is not referring to babies crawling into the side road. It is specifically referring to the car's movements. Because it says the cars of the migrant people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So we've got this refers, and it points to specifically what it is, what the crawling refers to. Okay. It is struggling to move with all the migrant people on it. Okay? So now what they've done is they've basically said, they've given a bit of an explanation of the image it conjures up. They did that without being like over the top. Do you see that? Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
They didn't like overly explain. They just said this is the image it creates. They were not writing a thesis on it, because it doesn't need to be so long, okay? But this is something that really scores points, especially for me when I'm marking. But I've looked into how other people mark. I've done courses on how to mark this specific exam, and it says additionally it creates a sense of desperation. Okay, so this is the image number 1. Okay. Okay. Then I wish I have figured out, I wish I could figure out how, to tag in this thing. I know how to tag. I just don't know what tags to use, because I feel like it would be really great if I could, just search and then just find everything to do with that topic. Okay. So, additionally, it creates a sense of desperation. Okay? Now, it provides an additional image. Okay? You see that? And so
Yes.
it provides an additional image, but this is like, you know when I tell you sometimes, okay, but that's like an extra thing. It's not necessarily the main focus.
Yeah.
This is what I mean.
Okay.
Don't make it the main image that it creates. Make it a secondary image. And that's totally cool, and that's exciting, and that's fun. Did anyone have fun doing these writer's effect exercises?
I found 2, 3, and 4 fun, and then I hated the last one.
You hate
Really?
it?
Why?
I found it very difficult. I don't know why.
Do you know why?
No, not really. It was
2,
just much
3, and
harder than the
4
others.
are all hostile, and then the last one focuses more on a positive image.
Yeah, actually, that might be it. I was used to analyzing the hostile one, and then they suddenly gave me a positive one.
Just give me a
Yeah.
sec.
like it was fun to read and it was a nice piece, but like I didn't like analyzing it. Mm, I don't know if he knows he's on mute.
Sorry, my dad phoned me to ask who is coming for his birthday party. Because my dad doesn't ever know how many adults I'm bringing with.
Oh.
So, like the car, so now it gives us, it says, it creates a sense of desperation. I wanted to just say on that previous note, Rowan, we mostly focus on negative imagery because a lot of our exam papers are negative imagery. I don't know why it is, but there's always like they highlight the negative imagery, and that's possibly because it's easier to portray and it's easier to explain. How do you explain bubbliness? It's a little bit, so they usually do that. So like the car, the people are also struggling to function. Okay? So it has created a connection between the car and the people. So it's almost alluding to a hidden metaphor. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And this is insightful. Okay, I just need to see someone sent a message on our group. Oh, it's Amelie.
Oh,
Okay.
me. I'm back now. Sorry.
Okay, so this is your okay. Then it is clear that they are using what little energy they have left to find someone else. And this is basically your concluding statement. About that quotation. Okay. So I'm going to highlight this whole piece and I'm going to outline the process that they used. Okay. So step 1. Okay, so I'm actually just going to number it. So firstly, they numbered it. Okay. The quote. You don't have to do that. The reason it helps is because it really helps your marker to like follow through what you're saying. And when we mark this question specifically, we are basically annotating as we go. And honestly, it's easier for us to annotate in our heads. And so yeah, like I've gotten really good at annotating in my head, and most markers are really good at annotating in their head, but this really does make it easier. Then the next thing they did was they provided the embedded quotation. Okay? The next thing they did was they said what is being referred to by the image. And then they elaborated on that. Oh, gosh. I feel like, yeah. Okay, so what is being referred to the image? And then 3.1, I want to say that what they do beyond that is they explain the implications of that briefly. Okay? I'm using this as a case study. I'm not expecting you to copy it word for word, copy this exactly. I don't want formulaic approaches. I have taught you guys to think critically. I have spent a lot of time trying to encourage critical thought. And so that's what I want from you but I want you to be able to structure it in a way that your point can be clear to your to the person marking your work. Do you understand?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. I think
Okay. So we explain briefly the implications, then we give an additionally. Okay. Now, here we also see furthermore, also, moreover. There are many more you can use, but it's basically just words that say you have more to add. Okay. Okay. A bit of theory. We need to finish soon. I just want to give you a bit of a life hack quickly. Okay? What is the purpose of an exam?
They say it's to test your abilities, but I don't think it's that anymore.
It is supposed to test your abilities, but it doesn't actually do that. There are too many factors that push against you. Okay? If they want to test your knowledge and your understanding, then they wouldn't put it in such a high stress situation. Right?
Yeah.
And so they are not testing your knowledge. They are not testing your understanding. That's the original goal, but it is really stupid. I hate exams. I personally just absolutely hate exams.
Who
So,
doesn't though?
well, a lot of teachers think this is the best thing in the world. They're like, this tells me if my students know what they're doing. No, it doesn't. You need to know your students. You need to know what your students are struggling with, not tell them they're passing or failing, but really help them. Anyway, so it's a topic I'm very passionate about. So what they're testing in an exam is not your ability to do the work. It is what you need to be able to do in an exam is basically make them believe that you can do the work. Okay? I'm going to stop the recording because I want to tell you guys something that I don't want.